Brent, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for being with us.
I'll leave you with this thought, Steve. As bad as the NFL or any organization could be at times, it's still always better than the NCAA.
Oh, so. Yeah. Oh, my God. It's so funny. Like, I felt the way you feel about the NCAA is how I felt about the NFL. Is that, yeah, they play, but, it's weird. No, I actually agree with you now. The NFL, at least when they play, the records matter, the games matter. The NCAA, you have no idea.
They make it up as they go along, and it just opens up to every type of discrepancy, every type of just improper outcome. And again, what happened to FSU, it's borderline criminal. But again, there's the NCAA for you.
Brett Tessler, the agent of the Stars. He's anticipating something good happening. When the phone rings, he's not necessarily thinking that, it's the IRS, we're demanding our money. Take a brighter view of life. Although it would be difficult at this stage to accept these circumstances if you happen to be. And it's a shame, too, really, because we can say this from our own experience, limited as it may be, with Mike Norvell, a guy that you despised when he was named the head coach. You thought this was a giant mistake.
Yes, I didn't like the pick. I didn't despise him. I didn't like
what did he ever do?
Yep.
This is too big of a job for him. I mean, we may as well have just stuck with Willie Taggart.
And guess what?
Going 5-7 every year. Yes.
He won games, and I changed my opinion, right? Because when the games get played, as a human being, you have an opinion based on the games that are played, not the way you felt before them, right? So I demonstrated what you thought sports were. You may assume something. You may pick Oregon over Washington. But if Washington then beats Oregon, oh, wow, I guess Washington's better than I thought. That was my opinion of Mike Norvell. I didn't like him, but they've won games. He won me over. I guess that's not the way the committee sees college football.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very special. Good morning, everybody. A Degenerate Friday about to kick off here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, one Mike Lubie. Special good morning to Big Possum, who's already weighed in on the chat line. That's fantastic. And, of course, yesterday, we were right in the mix. We were right in the middle of it, Lubie. I don't know if you caught any of the essence of what was going on in the area. We were doing our lunchbox remote with the great Mike Mayo from the Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. All right, well, withhold your laughter. Refrain from your laughter. Hey, Defo and Lubie, you really made it big, man. You're doing remotes from a chicken farm.
I don't think it's funny. I think it's great.
It's fantastic. It's unbelievable. We love that place. It's absolutely amazing. And we're dining on stone crabs and the freshest of Gulf shrimp there. Those were just unbelievable. And, of course, some of the sides that they put together, great. But in the immediate area, I mean, did you catch the buzz of what was happening there? There was no person that ever appeared on a television show, made a movie, or was ever involved in a sporting event that was not invited as a celebrity to participate in what ultimately will be a complete hosing of the American public, which is the advent of sports betting, legalized sports wagering here in South Florida. Now, where was everybody betting before, though? Nobody seemed to be having any problem getting a bet down. Do you know of anybody that was having difficulty betting games? It seems to me every time I'm with somebody, they're on their phone, and they're going ahead and sending it in all over the place. And whether it's offshore or in a different state, well, what the hell is the deal on that? I mean, what really is new, except for the fact that you can now roll to the Hard Rock Hotel and they have a sports book set up. I don't believe that it's actually large enough. I don't know what kind of expansion they're going to go ahead and execute here or put together to accommodate what would have to be probably, hundreds more people, maybe even thousands that would be going out there. I mean, if there's only one location. Now, is it also going to be at the Coconut Creek Casino? Did they open up sports wagering there at the same time, or is that still yet to come? Do you know, Lubie?
Professor actually stopped by the Coconut.
Oh, he did?
He just played table games. He said the table games are what people are most excited about. We're just sports people, but there is a sports book. He meant to get over there. He didn't get a chance because there wasn't really anything he cared about last night. But he said there is a sports book and it's open. So
it's funny, too, because I would imagine almost everybody is, staying home and betting on their rap. It is fun to be in a sports book when you have wagers on a game and there are a lot of people. Never forget when I was crossing over, I've mentioned this many times, I'm out in Las Vegas, as we have been for many different occasions for the Super Bowl, which, other than being at the Super Bowl itself, I would say Las Vegas is probably the next best place to take it in if you want to enjoy the swell of enthusiasm and the wave of emotion that keeps going back and forth as part of a sports betting crowd. And I was doing a radio show right up until near post time for the kickoff of the game.
Oh wow.
And sure enough, I was going back from the location where we were broadcasting from to Caesar's Palace, where we were staying. And there was a little tram that went kind of over the casino. And I'll never forget, as it was passing over the sports book, I hear this raucous cheer go up. I mean, people are going crazy. The building is practically shaking. And I thought, fuck, I missed like a kickoff return for a touchdown or something. It's already going to be like 7-0 one way or the other. And then I realized that this was just people that had been stimulated by the wager they had made on the coin flip. The game actually hadn't started yet, and they were already going crazy. So it is fun to be swept up in that kind of emotion. My experience has been this, though, in general, and this includes many trips to Atlantic City, where most of the sports books and race books, well, they only have the one race book now, but most of the sports book operations are pretty small. It's maybe 60 seats, stuff like that. Not exactly these grand theatrics that you would get, say, if you went to the Circa out in Las Vegas, which is supposed to be a spectacular, and so many other places. But I would think that expansion will almost immediately be announced once they get around to trying to accommodate all the people that will be at the Hard Rock Hotel. All right, the guy that's been talking about this forever, and no doubt will be feared. I don't know if he's been ruled off yet by the Hard Rock Hotel people, because if they saw his record so far this year, nobody would want this guy around placing wagers in their place. We welcome to the program on a Degenerate Friday our good friend, the Greek. Greek, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing? Happy holidays, you and Lubie and your audience. Hope you're doing well on this luscious Friday.
Now, were you involved in the activities yesterday? I would imagine. I mean, if Screech were alive, he would have gotten some kind of an invitation there to be a celebrity at the Hard Rock Hotel. What were you involved in the ribbon cutting ceremonies at all?
I wasn't involved in the ribbon cutting, but I was at both places. I was at the Hard Rock and I was at Seminole. People were jacked up. It was mob. The only thing I really would say is that I don't know how they're going to handle the people there. I mean, the casino was packed before, and now we had table games and sports betting. It's going to be crazy. I mean, they have the app, so a lot of people are on the app, but it's just, it's cool. It's great. It's great for the state of Florida. You've mentioned, I talked about this for years, and, it's very good.
All right, and how did you find the proceedings yesterday? I mean, you checked in a couple of places. The professor, who's going to join us later on,
who is?
The professor is going to join us later on, and he was at Coconut Creek. Lubie says, and he said
they did their thing at 1:00, the roulette and craps. It was great. I mean, they have some tables, obviously. I think it's going to increase business both places tremendously, and it's great. I mean, just it's a good thing. If you like, sports betting, or if you like, obviously, the craps or roulette, it's there now. You just got to be careful if you're too close, because you can't start making runs there all the time.
Well, and the other thing would be this, people got a cruel, cold lesson right away if they unloaded on the common opinion about last night's game, which was with this lowest total in the last 20 years. Over under. I think 30. It was like going back to 2005, an NFL game with a total of 30, that it was actually over the total by the end of the first half with two completely decrepit teams with backup quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, Monday night, I loved the Bengals. I had them. They were getting 10. Their backup quarter, Browning, did fantastic.
Yeah.
You just got to look for games. Like Monday night, I like the Giants plus the 6.5. Everybody goes to Giants Stadium, gets a chicken cutlet sandwich from Tommy DeVito's mother.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. But no, I like the Giants. And these are games where they're pros, obviously, when they don't have anything to play. You know what I mean? They want to spoil teams. And Patriots last night. But I've said to you how many times, you know me for years, when the public's on 90% one way, you just have to have the willpower and close your eyes and bet the other way. Not 100%, but odds are high that, like, I walked in last night, I was at Stripes, and I walked in, I looked up the score, I didn't know it, and I saw 14-3. I was like, I'm not surprised because everybody all day was like, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh. Tomlin's a great coach. They're going to win. That kid quartering sucks. The
Oh,
Bears.
Trubisky, wow. He took a beating from the fans, too. Yeah.
Oh, he sucks. They traded up for him. The
Yes.
Bears should lose their franchise. They passed on Mahomes. That's
Yes.
the thing with Jordan. I mean, it amazes me that there are people in this world, well, not because I work with a lot of them anyway, who
Yes.
are so incompetent and can't do their job, and they miss, like, not a runway. Like, you land in Newark Airport, you end up in San Diego. They miss runways like thousands of feet, miles. It's great, and they suck. They get paid. That's what it cracks me up. Like, some of these offense coordinators, I can do better plays in my backyard than drawing on the dirt. Like, first down, like last night, Pittsburgh, first down run, second down run, third down throw, tight end, 4-yard pass. It's 3rd and 10. Why are you throwing 4 yards? Like, it makes no sense.
Well, and then on a couple of occasions now, this works once in a while. I'm not opposed to it in general. Bart Starr used to do it all the time with a great Packer team, where they would have a 4th and 1, and he would run play action and throw a bomb. But they had Trubisky, who is a pick waiting to happen, throwing deep on a couple of 4th down situations, including the one to wrap up the game.
I'd rather have Stevie Wonder back there. What our get is better than this kid now. The NFL, Brady was right. People got pissed.
Yes.
It's mediocre. There's like 12 quarterbacks, and thank God this is a strong draft with like 6 quarterbacks coming out.
Yeah.
And that is going to help. And then tomorrow night's the Heisman. I told everybody last week, if you like Washington to beat Oregon, don't bet the game. Bet the quarterback to win the Heisman at 16-1. We're going to see if that comes out tomorrow night.
I'm thinking, what? Does the LSU guy get it? That seems to be the lean of virtually everybody who's watching this race.
His stats are ridiculous, but they have 3 losses, and Washington went through the most ridiculous conference undefeated. Like, usually that matters with Heisman.
I bet Washington big to win it all.
Yeah, I think they will. Like, they're really tested. People.
Well, it doesn't matter because if you set it up right, this is what people don't understand about sports gambling. I try to teach them, and they don't listen. They're like management at iHeart. They don't listen.
Or any radio enterprise, for that matter.
Yeah. Eddie, you bet Washington at 7-1, and I'm going to give an example. Okay, say for $1,000, right? So if you win, you get 7,000. When they play Texas, you bet Texas margin of victory. 1 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18. And you throw like 200 each on it. That'll cover your first bet. That covers that Geno right there. Because if Texas wins, they're going to win by 1 point.
Yeah.
If they lose, you got Washington. And then you go to next round when they play Alabama, because Alabama's going to kick the shit out of Michigan. And that's what's going to happen. You do it again, and you're guaranteed money. You cannot lose money with that system.
What did you think, Greek, about this host job? Well, we have a moratorium on it, and I'm actually on a hunger strike to see if we can get through the rest of the week without mentioning this playoff situation and the host job of Florida State.
I'm not surprised. The ACC sucks. It always has sucked. The SEC, though, this year, they just got on their reputation because their conference sucks, too. Everybody's terrible. Missouri was good, Alabama, and obviously Georgia, but everybody else was terrible this year. There was like 9 teams that were bad. But I don't think they're keeping Saban out. I mean, they're just not. Florida State would have got in if Dion was their coach.
Yeah. Colorado probably got more traction in terms of getting in than Florida State.
I wasn't surprised that Florida State got nixed out. They were shown in November, like ACC, that Florida State. The division has no rep. They got no juice. It's like one of my friends calling a fucking restaurant and they want a room, table. And they go completely booked, and I call up and they go, "Greek, come on in." That's Saban. They're not keeping Saban out. There's no way.
Well, and the hosing came about mostly because Texas beat Alabama, and the only way to get Alabama in was to put Texas in also. Otherwise, I don't know that Texas gets any consideration for the Final Four at all. If Texas,
no, they won their conference.
Right.
I mean, the Big Five, their conference, and they give them more juice. The only way Florida State I thought would have got in was if Saturday night when they played Louisville, if they killed them, like say 33-10. But it was a terrible game. And the one problem with this playoff that they've talked about for years and it happened last year again is that the semifinal games are all blowouts.
Yes.
Like last year, Georgia won what, 56-3. TCU blew up Michigan, so they didn't want to go in knowing that this kid's hurt. And we'll see. I mean, the good thing about Florida State and Georgia is they play in the Orange Bowl a couple days before. If Georgia blows them out, then the Florida State people just got to shut up. Now, if Florida State beats Georgia, well, then that's a different story. Then you're going to have, you're going to add more wood to the fire on the whole thing.
What's your feeling in general about hunger strikes? Are they effective?
For what? I mean, what do you?
I mean, to awaken people to a cause. This just happened to be in conjunction with my wife for some reason, bringing home some toxic cleansing juice that she said, "Hey, why don't you try this?" I don't know if she was suggesting that I was putting on a few.
You want to send a message to somebody? Give an envelope full of cash,
which is what Alabama did.
Yeah, or I'm not surprised. Like, everybody was so shocked. I was like, my buddy called me up because, Chris, you told me this a month ago. ACC is a terrible. If I was Florida State, I'd get out of the ACC.
Well, yeah,
because it's bad. And I know Lubie, you're a big fan, but that's what hurts them. But I don't think if the quarterback didn't get hurt, I think they get in. I really do.
They would have had no way to justify or rationalize putting an Alabama team in that had lost at home by 10 points to another team that also sustained a loss against an opponent that wasn't all that swift in Oklahoma this year. They would have had no way to rationalize this away if Florida State had Jordan Travis still on the roster. But yeah, there was a couple of there were a couple of ugly performances there, no doubt about it. Even though they won the game, which yeah,
but they got bad breaks. Like, they beat Florida and they barely beat Florida, and Florida's terrible. And then they go to the next round. The kid gets hurt on concussion. You got to put another kid in there, a freshman, and he did terrible. I mean, that second game was painful to watch. That Florida State.
It was like watching the Jets all season long.
I don't know if there's anything worth it.
Or any number of NFL teams, for that matter. All right, Greek, last week touched up a little bit. One of the rare times. Lubie's got you at 3-4. We're not sure what level of accuracy Lubie's traction of these games is.
First losing week of the season.
And I look at
2-2 on the college slate, 1-2 in the NFL. Certainly no shame. For the season, the Greek, documented picks here on the show, 39-21-1. So, I mean, that's phenomenal. You're winning 2 out of 3 games here if you're backing a Greek all season long. As our good friend, the Polyman, has become your biggest fan, Greek. The Polyman, our esteemed colleague for many, many years. And, he loves you, man.
Good story for you. I got a good story for you because I know you love me. So I'm out there tonight at a restaurant, and I was at New York Prime, and then I was at Strikes. So this guy comes in, he's looking for me. So he asks this one girl, she goes, he's sitting by the bar. He comes up to me, goes, "You Greek?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I've been betting your games all year." Hands me an envelope full of cash. He goes, "Thank you so much."
How beautiful is that?
What?
What a stand-up guy.
Holy crap. Good for you.
Wow.
And 4 figures, by the way.
Get out of here.
Did you thousands of dollars?
He hands you a couple of dimes? Unreal.
What the hell? $3,000.
3 dimes. He just hands you because he's had good luck. Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's like
he's just in my games.
Yeah, but like, okay, so if he had lost, would he have asked you for a?
No, he just said, "Look, I've been listening to you." He goes, "You know what? You have had a great year. I've been listening to yours." He goes, "I bet pretty big." And Greek's gridiron, I'm like 55-30.
Oh, Jesus.
For the year.
Good for you.
Holy shit. Let's get to it, man. I mean, why are we wasting time shooting the shit when you're giving out winner after winner? All right, first time and still right there.
3,000 and I went to Connie Francis's house in Fort Lauderdale, and I put on Where the Boys
Are. You could have bought her house with the way that you've been hitting games so far this year. All right, as a Polyman would say, you do nothing but pick winners. So, Greek, let's do it. Let's take a look at the slate for this week and what you're looking at.
I'm going to go to, because I know in an audience that some people, like, they want the high profile games. I'm going to go with the Bengals over the Colts. I think the Bengals chase is awesome. They got good receivers. I think they beat the Colts. Line is 1. I'm going to go with the Eagles going to Dallas, which is, I know, a pick nobody likes to win. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. And my big play is the Giants Monday night plus the 6.5.
Wow, G-Men. Going with the hapless G-Men and Tommy DeVito, not to be confused with Danny DeVito. He gets the nod over Tyrod Taylor, the perennial backup, who would seem to have more proven NFL credentials. And as coaches and their cliches usually indicate, well, this guy gives us the best chance to win. But they're going with the story, the good story there, Tommy DeVito, a now New York and New Jersey hero with the Giants. And the Greek says, go ahead and take the 6 in a hook with the New York Giants Monday night against a Packer team that seems to be surging and going in the right direction. You say all of that momentum gets derailed here as the Giants at least get within a touchdown of the Green Bay Packers. All right, what do you have going this weekend? I mean, are you going to be spending time? Or did you take up a residence at the Hard Rock Hotel? Or are you living in one of the suites at the rooftop of the Guitar Hotel now? What's going on?
I'll be down there probably Sunday.
Are you a craps player? I know you've dabbled in roulette. I know. Are you a craps shooter?
No, I love roulette. I love roulette.
Love roulette. Nice.
I always have. Yeah, I love the odds. I mean,
that 35 to 1 is sweet, even though you're playing into 37 to 1, which people forget about the 0 and the dreaded 00, my friend.
You always forget about that stuff, but no, I like roulette and I like sports betting. I mean, there's no reason anymore to go to Vegas. I mean, I think like Bahamas and everything. It's just you got it down here. It's just can you handle the crowd?
So, yeah, you would think. I mean, now do you eventually see this expanding to the pari-mutuels, or is that going to be on ice for some time?
From what I heard, the Kennel Club is already involved with the Hard Rock app in some capacity.
Oh, okay.
It's going to come out in a week or so.
So the idea is eventually they're smart enough to realize it's better to have everyone than just them.
As long as you're getting a piece, right?
Like they just lease it out, right? Like at some point, all the other we lost him. Dang,
we lost the Green. Okay, probably had to take a real important telephone call. Dogs are going crazy anyway. Yeah. So the Greek going with what? He had the Cincinnati Bengals. And they are they laying a point, the Cincinnati Bengals, or getting a point in this game?
Laying a point.
Laying a point. The Cincinnati Bengals are going against the Indianapolis Colts, who haven't been half bad this year, the Indianapolis Colts. Although, nothing, you're looking at the Colts, they seem rather nondescript, but Bengals off of that fine performance last week, where they came away with an outright victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that was the game that killed all those people in the Circus Survivor sweat pool. That 24 people went down in flames in that one. He likes the Eagles. I am having a tough time seeing the Eagles in that game. What do you think, Lubie? Not that we want to be like Mr. Chalk here, but Greek likes it. He likes the Eagles to cover 3.5. Getting 3.5 and get within a field goal of the Cowboys. Cowboys kind of hang around and lead teams in ball games, don't they?
Yes, they do. Well, I mean, the Eagles do the same thing. But Greek,
the Greek's back. Yeah, very nice.
It feels like he's doing side things.
You know what I love? I still love that you have not fixed the dog situation.
Yeah, actually, he hasn't barked the entire fucking week. It's like he knows it's Degenerate Friday. He literally hasn't barked all week long. We haven't had an issue with Skippy the entire week.
It's not even Skippy. It's my little one now.
Holly.
She's going crazy.
She's like, it's Degenerate Friday. People need to know I have the Mark Lawrence gene in me, and the dog. She's literally barking. That's so funny.
Yeah, now they're going crazy. So, that's going to be hard to stop here, Greek, especially since I'm not in a position to get up and close the curtains. But they're both looking outside. Some guy was walking by with his dog, and they spotted that from upstairs here. They got like a little perch, and boom. They're like the stewards that are on the turn at the track. All right, so it was a festive occasion, and you had no special priority there? I mean, do you have some kind of big time? Don't you have a big-time host there? Weren't you also on stage with Bruno Mars last night at the Hard Rock?
No, I wasn't on stage with Bruno Mars. I am doing ads for the Hard Rock to promote their
very nice
app. And I'm doing a new show on Real Radio again every day, 2 to 3. The Greek Zone's going to be on there now because of sports betting. It's 1 hour of gambling and sports talk. So if you guys ever want to call in, you're always welcome, either one of you.
Excellent. No, we want to co-host it, man. You're making some real bread over there at the gambling radio station, which is great. Now, do they have any other shows, local shows, or is it just the Greek and then the rest of it's off the national feed?
Well, no, this is Real Radio. This is my other station.
Oh, this is Real Radio. Oh, my God. Listen to you.
The FM single. Yeah, the FM single.
Very nice. Okay, good. Well, that sounds great. All right, well, we'd be happy to guest on those shows. Anytime you need us, Greek. You're always
Yeah.
very generous with your time with us. So we would love to do that for you. So let us know. Just give us a call, and
Devo, call me today. Call today. I'll text you the number.
I'll be happy to do that. That'll be great.
No.
All right, sounds good. Greek, we love you, man. Good luck with your picks. Thanks so much for being with us.
Don't go
You
broke.
too, Lubie. Be good.
We love
Peace.
you.
All right, the Greek. All right, so what do you think, Libby? You never weighed in on that Eagles-Cowboys game.
I would lean Cowboys. I mean, I think the Eagles are sort of a mess.
Is that not emphasizing the obvious there? Don't the Cowboys look like they're in a position after the Eagles game last week where they get crushed by the San Francisco 49ers? And what wasn't even a contest. I mean, they just were annihilated. At home.
Well, at home. This is at home, too. That's the thing. Dallas plays insane at home. Dallas is very much like the Dolphins, where like them at home, even though the Niners are the best team in the NFC, they're probably the best team in football. Cowboys at home puts them on like any team's level. Like the Dolphins at home are just fucking ridiculous right now. Like Dallas is scary at home. So yeah, I mean,
wouldn't you think this, Lubie, that the Cowboys would routinely, as America's team, if they are still that, are routinely overbet? Would you think that was the case with bettors? Like most bettors are inclined to go, oh yeah, Cowboys, they're going to be fine, especially in these home games. You would think that they'd be doing lousy against the spread, would you not?
Well, in years past, not this year. This year's different. Like they've beaten people to a bloody pulp a lot. So people came into this year probably a little weary, and they're good now. So,
I've changed my opinion about Mike McCarthy after looking at this number here.
But
no, the guy should be the coach of the year, the Degenerate coach of the year, which should be a separate list of awards for degenerates, who's really coming through. All right, go back to 2021, Lubie. The Cowboys go 13-4 in 17 games against the point spread.
Oh, wow.
13-4. Last year, they still have a winning record against the spread, 9-7 and a pusheroni.
Yeah, that sounds more like
and this year so far, they are the best in the NFC against the point spread at 8-4, tied with the Lions at that mark.
Oh, nice.
Vikings third at 7-4-1. Eagles 6-3-3, surprisingly. Buccaneers, a lousy team, are 7-5 against the spread. So maybe we owe them a little bit of an apology. Todd Bowles, who we think is an horrendous coach. I mean, doesn't he look like he's completely lost there on the sidelines? Todd Bowles, we've said this a zillion times, still managing to carve out a winning record against the point spread. Worst team in the NFC, the Saints this year, bitter disappointment at 2-9-1. And the Panthers have been horrible all year long. But I must have got robbed, though, by that Jewish Journal point spread that Francesco gave me, because I had last week's game at a push at 3 points. But they are being credited with a win against the point spread in that game that they lost last week to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by 3. What was it, 21-18 was the final, something like that? They must have dropped down to having the Buccaneers only getting 2.5 points or laying 2.5 in that game. So they end up covering that point spread. But, yeah, I mean, a couple of things that you can bank on. You wouldn't think that the Cowboys would be that successful against the spread. You add all that up, Lubie. What do we have here? We have 16-11 plus 4 there, 16-15. 29-15 the last 3 years against the spread if you're betting the Cowboys. So some of those Cowboy fans being rewarded. I love that old joke that you keep seeing pictures posted of where they have some gorgeous babe, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, and she's on the current squad. And then they have some old bag all dressed up in a Cowboy cheerleading outfit. It looks completely horrible. Looks like Phyllis Diller in a Cowboy cheerleading outfit. And then they, put the caption on there, and they say the woman on the right was a cheerleader the last time the Cowboys won a championship. Like 87 years old. All right, we're coming back. The professor going to join us here on the show. The professor with his college football plays. He's been dynamite of late also on a hot streak. And no doubt, and he was witness to what was going on at the Coconut Creek Casino. So we'll come back with the professor and more on a Degenerate Friday here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. Thanks for all your comments on the chat line. Always a lot of fun. And back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
29.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Hear me! I am your new president. From this day on, the official language of San Marcos will be Swedish. Silence! In addition to that, all citizens will be required to change their underwear every half hour. Underwear will be worn on the outside so we can check. Furthermore, all children under 16 years old are now 16 years old.
What's the Spanish word for straitjacket?
Power has driven him mad.
Welcome back to The Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here. The professor's scheduled to join us, and there he is. A beautiful thing. The professor going to be with us here in just a sec. He's with us now. Professor, how are you? How's everything going?
Boys, how are you?
Doing all right. So you were witness to it, Coconut Creek. What was that all about yesterday? Of course, the big celebration was at the Hard Rock Hotel. Sports gambling finally officially got underway, even though it seemed to be happening before that, Professor, and it looked like you didn't have to have a prior account because people were establishing accounts and betting freely on the app. So, what did you see? What were your observations of what was going on at Coconut Creek?
It was getting crowded as I left. It wasn't like a huge crowd when I first arrived, but started to pack up. I left there probably like a quarter after 5, and it looked like it was going to be a very busy night. I would say if you want to enjoy the new craps table, that was very popular. Both the ones I spotted looked to be totally full. So I would imagine if you want to spot, much like Black Friday, arrive bright and early this morning. And from what I hear, the Hard Rock, is it Tiesto? Is that how you pronounce it?
Diplo. It was Diplo. It was Diplo.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about tonight.
I don't know.
Tiesto. So
they're doing the whole thing. They're going all
DJs and young people, and it is a Vegas style opening.
Okay,
I shouldn't even say young people. It's like Lubie's age people who like to take party drugs and listen to DJs. I don't really understand the music scene of these. Let's get totally untalented people who just plug a flash drive into a computer and then pretend to do stuff. And that's music nowadays.
It's not like watching the Allman Brothers back in the day, that's for sure.
Or anybody who actually played live instruments. I'm not an hip hop guy. There were hip hop guys who had music. I mean, the Beastie Boys played their own instruments on their biggest hits. Nowadays, it's all basically AI for the AI generation. We have AI music essentially.
It's unfortunate, because I mean, people would say, "Hey, you're an old fart," but it's true. Music from 50 years ago still stands up.
It's not that I'm an old fart; it's that I'm anti-foreigners and all the biggest DJ in the world. There are all these people from these depressing ass, Slavic and Norwegian countries where you really can't do anything except sit in front of your computer all day long for like 5 months a year. So, that's what they do. And somehow young American people have accepted that this is somehow music now.
Craps, when first being observed, if you haven't played, seems very complicated. Then you get involved and you realize, okay, there are some simple things and plans that you could follow. What would you say, I mean, in your estimation, Professor, is this AI musical crowd, the new generation, are they inclined to understand the subtleties and the varieties of things about craps that would make you successful?
Just like anything else, they don't like doing things that actually involve human beings.
Yeah.
So this very strong trend is that they are all slots and computerized games players. actually saw a video of that about Las Vegas and the rather large number of casinos that are now attempting to go basically fully automated, so they don't have to pay human beings, and they just want those machines.
Be okay with me if a robot came over and handed me when it says with the rare time where it says call attendant for a hand cash payout. I don't care if it's a
I'm
live
not a
human being.
slot guy. I'm not
Yeah, me either.
I definitely prefer the live playing experience. I'm definitely more of a sports book and table games guy. So yeah, I don't really get it. But again, much like the music scene, there's a lot I don't get about Lubie's generation and those younger. Seems to be predicated on entirely being antisocial. Which you'd think I would really
Which
gravitate to.
Lubie largely is in his
You
own
would think
strange
I
way.
would gravitate to, but if you
Yeah.
don't have human beings, you don't have other people to insult horribly and say terrible things to. So, for me, without the opponent of a fellow angry human being to argue with, it's really just not fun.
Were there more than a couple of tables, or did it look like those cruise to nowhere ships where you
No,
had one table that was jamming?
They did a really good job. I counted I don't know, probably at least 6 roulette
Wow.
tables and 4 craps tables.
Oh, wow.
They have made a very quick transition.
Jesus.
Now I did not go look at the sports book, but I did look at the automated kiosks, which seems to be the way they're sort of trending at the Coconut Creek location, is less of a live sports book, although there is a couple of sports bars where you can obviously sit down and watch the game, but more towards the kiosk than the live bettors, which from a sports perspective kind of makes sense because I think people really have
the apps. You got
gone
used
towards the apps. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How excited are you about the upcoming bowl season? As you've had a little bit of a respite here.
Obviously, exceedingly. It's my favorite time of the year.
Okay. Any general angles that you pursue in these spots, or you just go matchup by matchup? And are there any general themes that people can follow when handicapping bowl
generally
games?
you'll find one. I've been looking for one for this particular bowl season. Nothing's really jumped out at me. We'll talk about that a little bit more next week as we ramp into next Saturday, which is, of course, the kickoff of bowl season. I usually tend to gravitate towards finding a conference or two to pick on.
Okay.
Surprisingly, this year it might be the SEC. I still don't think the SEC is particularly strong, and they've got some ridiculously large lines. And of course, the one thing we noticed about over the last few years is, as much as other conferences have engaged in the bowl opt-outs, the SEC is perfected it. No SEC player who doesn't have to play in a bowl game, unless you're an Alabama player and Nick Saban has installed those microchips that make your heart explode.
Yes.
If you think about trying to opt out of a bowl game. Basically, no SEC player actually plays in bowl games. So, I would be inclined to think maybe anti-SEC. Like I said, I've got to give it another few more reviews because no conference to pick on how the lines for this conference are bad really jumped out at me. But that's usually the way I attack it. Is sort of attempting to isolate a bad conference, but we had a lot of balance this year. The MAC is another one. Was that Skippy Dog? I don't think that was.
No, that's Holly. Some people are
okay.
strolling by the back here, and the window happens to be open. I forgot to close the curtain, so they're going bananas here now.
Good morning to the dogs on the show, and
Yeah.
maybe that's Holly saying, "Take the dog, take the points."
She usually weighs in when Mark Lawrence is on because he's always picking all underdogs. He's never picked a favorite on the show in the entire 12, 15 years we've been doing it. All right. Do you have any games that stand out, Professor?
Not off the top
any
of my
early
head.
picks?
Again,
Nothing. Okay.
We'll break it down like I said next week. Nothing really jump. I mean, I think the one down here, obviously, and we don't even know for a fact there's going to be a game with Florida State and Georgia, but at a 13.5-point line, looks like maybe a little bit of an interesting spot where you could attack. Certainly, if someone's going to be inspired to play in this bowl game, it'll be the Florida State Seminoles. But we're going to have to look at the opt-outs. A couple, if you really, need to go early, that do jump off the page a little bit to me. Again, we have to wait to see the full list of opt-outs, but thus far, UCLA doesn't look like they're going to have a ton. only laying 2 to a Boise team that has had its offensive struggles throughout the course of the year. Anyway, I think that defense from UCLA, again, going to have to wait and see the opt-outs. This is the problem is, Defo, we used to like to break down the bowls like ahead of time. Now you got to do it like 2 minutes before the game because the opt-outs will roll in literally.
You find out the coach is not there.
Remember, it was 2 years ago or maybe even last year where like the Missouri team got like 8 opt-outs in the last 15 minutes before the game. So unfortunately, it's very difficult to look ahead without knowing the full opt-out list. But if you want to, just on that first one, that UCLA game jumps off to me a little bit. And again, relatively young team. They do have an older quarterback, but he's not a guy who's an NFL player. So I'm not sure they're going to get an extensive list of opt-outs, but that would be one that sort of stands out to me.
And of course, we'll be scouting the activity of the 2 teams involved in the Hawaii Bowl. San Jose State is laying 9.5 to Coastal Carolina.
Right.
But you can't formulate an opinion until you get the inside report as to which team
just
is partying like they're in Animal House. Yeah.
San Jose State.
No, that's it. I mean, it's Coastal Carolina.
Like, who's going to be happier to be in Hawaii? That reeks of Coastal Carolina.
Yes.
I've never actually been to San Jose, but I know it's like the tech hub of the world. So
it's California. It should be
pretty nice, good weather, lots of money, good food, all of that. You would think Coastal Carolina would be the team much happier to be there.
Getting married in the ambiance.
Their face full of poi, wearing lace to the game.
Diving off 3rd-story hotels into the pool. Yeah.
And our favorite one, the Boise State quarterback, was at Southwick a few years ago, got sent home for peeing off the balcony at the hotel.
In violation of the team's code of ethics.
Again, my all-time favorite, which one was Houston was there, I think is like a 4-touchdown favorite over somebody, and Ed Oliver stepped on a jellyfish like 3 hours before the game, and his foot was like 4 times its normal size. They had to like use a pry bar to get his foot inside a size 26 shoe. And, of course, I think Houston won that game, but they won like on a last-second field goal, laying 3 touchdowns.
Thrombosis, my friend. Thrombosis. All right. A big board for this week. Do we get into it?
We do have a big board. I
Beautiful.
didn't realize we were going that quickly.
Oh, beautiful. I like this one.
Yes. And, of course, it is bowl season. So we have our big board of the stupidest bowl game sponsorship. Of course, every time it gets around this year, we start trying to roll off the names of bowl games, and we here at the show tend to use the old names, the actual bowl game names. But, of course, they're known for their sponsorships these days. And a lot of them are really fucking dumb. A lot of companies that really should not be involved in this business. A lot of bowl games that shouldn't be accepting sponsorships from these companies because it's pretty, let's say 60-40 against that the check will actually clear.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there's a lot of that, and we thought we'd use this week's time as we get ready to ramp up for the bowl games. And again, to those who are followers, we apologize. Usually the show a week out for years and years on the show, when we start to break down our early season look at the bowl game. But we just can't do that anymore in the opt-out
You've gotten fucked in the past. Like, that's why you always kill the bowls. And then I think it was either last year or the year before when you like.
It was the year before COVID hit when it really started rolling in.
Were fine, and then you got fucked because you personally were smart enough to put your money where it worked out, but on the air, and you felt guilty because you actually put your money where your mouth is. Like, you would look like an asshole. Like, you don't even know. And that's the thing is, like, half the players, like FSU's had a few guys, Georgia's had a few guys, but most schools, they keep it close to the vest. Like, it's impossible a week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks out to do it.
Yeah, again, unfortunately, from a handicapping standpoint, you can't really even do it a day or two out of time because you'll do it and then you'll find a couple of your key players decided at the last minute to sit out of the game.
Exactly.
Very good, sir. All right, so big board of the dumbest bowl game sponsorships. Do we still include the Poulon Weed Eater Bowl, which when somebody's trying to think of a rinky-dink game, they always reference that one.
The Poulon Weed Eater Bowl has
I'm guilty of it.
Far surpassed in this list now. It really that's you're going with dated info there, Defo. That is
it's extinct for some time. I don't even think Poulon is in business anymore, much less making weed eaters. And then the fact that the game was played on artificial turf was a bit of an oxymoron, if not just flat out an oxymoron. That was crazy. But all right, so what do we have? I mean, do we have Bitcoin? Any of?
Yeah. You see, now you're really ruining this.
Oh,
Steve.
okay.
Like,
Sorry. That's why I want to get into it here before I spill all the beans here. But yeah, I was thinking Bankman Fried still is sponsoring a bowl game, is he not?
He is
Sandy
not.
Boy.
He has. They have actually not done that in quite a time. But now that you've ruined it, yes, the Bitcoin Bowl will be on the list. Thanks for that, Deef. So let's just get started here before Defo ruins them all and go with number 5, which is the Brute Sun Bowl. For those of you who don't remember, the Sun Bowl, which is actually the second oldest bowl game after the Rose Bowl, for nearly a decade, was sponsored by Fabergé, which, of all of you know, and particularly if you're of my generation, if you grew up and you hated your father and wanted to give him a Christmas present that said, "Merry Christmas, Dad, I hope you die in a fucking fire," you gave him Brute by Fabergé. Here's a bottle of the shittiest cologne that ever made. I'm pretty sure it causes chemical burns.
Yeah.
And we have a terrible relationship. So I would like to let you know that on Christmas by giving you a bottle of Brute. Much like if you're a college football player, there's no better way to treat your family than to celebrate Christmas by going to El Paso, Texas, and playing in a bowl game that is absolutely notorious for its horrific weather. Because if you remember a few years ago, the Miami Hurricanes went and played in this game. It might have even been against Notre Dame. And the game was 72 degrees and sunny at kickoff, and then a blizzard rolled in at halftime, which is the exact kind of thing that happens at the Sun Bowl. A few years before that, USC and Georgia Tech played in a game that featured 60-mile-an-hour winds for the entire game. Again, so this was really the perfect combination. The cologne you give to your father when you say, "I hate you," and the bowl game that you give to college football teams when you say, "We hate the sport of college football. I want it to be played in unpredictable weather conditions that make the game totally untenable." So again, that's the kind of crappy sponsor and crappy bowl game synergy we're looking for here, is when you have Brute by Fabergé sponsoring the Sun Bowl.
It's kind of like the cologne you find on sale, or you can buy a spritz at some. When we were at Porky's at strip club, I think they had some Brute in the bathroom there.
Cologne you can find at a gas station at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was like after.
If that's when you're doing your Christmas shopping for your male friends.
All right, the Brute
it's a nice bottle
Sun
of
Bowl.
Brute by Fabergé.
Number 5 on the list of weird sponsorships for bowl games.
Stupid sponsorship.
Yeah, stupid.
Not weird. It's plenty of weird. This is just dumb.
All right, that's number 5.
Number 4, and this was actually a huge game. I don't know if you remember this. 2016, the Fiesta Bowl was Ohio State versus Notre Dame. I mean, you can't get a bigger matchup than, I believe they were numbers 5 and 8 in the country. Ohio State and Notre Dame, you had Joey Bosa get kicked out of the game on like the first play of the game. It was a huge game, but it did have a little thing, which was it was sponsored by something called Battle Frog. That's right, the 2016 Fiesta. I still haven't figured out what the fuck Battle Frog is. Battle Frog, and allegedly Battle Frog was a series of mud races sponsored by and designed by former Navy SEALs. I'm sorry. How the fuck did this get enough money to sponsor the goddamn Fiesta?
It's a big bowl, yeah.
And so clearly the Mexican drug cartels laundering money. All you needed was Jason Bateman to come out and throw out the coin toss for this game. Everything about this sponsorship reeked of somebody's laundering drug money with this. Come on, Battle Frog.
Battle Frog.
Who the hell is going? Forget that. Yes, there was a little bit in the 2010s where people were willing to go do mud races. Who the hell is willing to go pay enough money to run in a mud race that they can afford to sponsor that they can outbid Tostitos?
Yeah,
to sponsor the goddamn Fiesta Bowl. You might as well just have called this the El Chapo Bowl. Honestly, have you ever seen the movie Victory, where Sylvester Stallone and Michael Caine like tunnel out of the Nazi soccer stadium to escape? That's probably what was going on at the goddamn Fiesta Bowl that year because it was in Phoenix. I imagine El Chapo was running tunnels underneath the Fiesta Bowl to smuggle in the meth. Because clearly the Battle Frog Bowl was the most obvious example of money laundering in the history of fake sponsorships. I mean, honestly, if you're going to create a fake money laundering company, call it something better than Battle Frog. Does anybody believe that a company named Battle Frog can afford the $20+ million to be the title sponsor of a game? Come on, Battle Frog?
Sounds like a minor event in the X Games.
Yes.
All right, we're going to Battle Frog right now. And here's Sal Palantonio down there in the sidelines.
It sounds like it was designed by somebody who doesn't speak English. Again, like a Mexican drug cartel.
That's number 4 on the list. Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl.
Number 3. There you go, Defo.
Oh, there it is. I'm
Literally
sorry.
every sponsor of the St. Petersburg Bowl has tried, but particularly 2014's Bitcoin Bowl.
The Bitcoin Bowl, yes. Isn't there a revival of this now? It's legit again, all of this crypto money?
I mean, I don't think it's legitimate, but it is definitely on an upward swing again.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the sponsors of what is now known as the Gasparilla Bowl, or the St. Petersburg Gasparilla Bowl, which included, do you remember when they started this? Does anybody remember what the first sponsor of the St. Petersburg Bowl was?
Can't remember, no.
It was Magic Jack. It was that thing you plug into.
I met that guy.
Your phone wall. Yes, I met him with the great Marvin Jones in South Beach one night.
Yes.
But again, it's that thing you were plugged in that if you didn't want to pay your phone bill, but you didn't know how to run a computer, you plugged it into your computer.
The Magic Jack, yes.
And you plugged it into your wallet. Yeah, okay. That was, it was a great idea for about 35 seconds. And then everybody stopped using the line telephone and went to cell phones. That was the original sponsor. The second sponsor, Beef O'Brady's.
Very popular chain restaurant there.
That I had not actually been to one previously. I thought that was totally made up. Again, I thought that was money laundering. I was like, who the hell is going to name restaurants Beef O'Brady's?
As I recall, not something that would be high on the list of culinary hotspots.
Honestly, their food tasted like a restaurant menu designed by a guy who would name his place Beef O'Brady's.
There are prison commissaries that serve better food, is what you're saying.
And then 2014, we had the Bitcoin Bowl. Again, somehow, even among the St. Petersburg, Bitcoin somehow managed to be a low moment. And finally, after the Bitcoin Bowl, they named it the Bad Boys Mowers Bowl. For those who wanted to combine the worlds of hip-hop and lawnmowers. The service.
I think there's probably a company there.
No, they were a real company. But again, where does a company called Bad Boy Mowers, whose idea was like, you know what we need? We need lawnmowers for people who need a lawnmower but want a Puff Daddy style lawnmower. Like, who the hell came up with this? I never actually saw a Bad Boy mower. I assume they had like spinners on the rims.
Yeah.
Biggie's face.
But really, this is pretty much exactly what I would expect from the city of Tampa and the city of Tampa's bowl game is to be sponsored by Bitcoin and Bad Boy. Honestly, because if you're going to sell fucking lawnmowers designed for Puff Daddy, the city of Tampa would be a good place to do it.
Serious identity crisis there.
If you were going to start a restaurant chain called Beef O'Brady's, a fucking city where they put salami on Cuban sandwiches is the ideal place to do it. So really, if you're going to have a bowl this stupid, Tampa is the place you want to have it in. I mean, honestly, all that's missing on this bowl's history, and I'm sure it's come, will be the Mons Venus St. Petersburg Bowl, which I'm sure will happen.
It's coming,
someday.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of their more renowned establishments. They're Busch Gardens and Mons Venus, the two hottest spots there. And Burns Steakhouse.
And Beef O'Brady's.
And Beef O'Brady's.
I love Burns, but let's be honest. The people of Tampa are much more Beef O'Brady's people than they are Burns.
Much more so, yes, no doubt about it. All right, that's number 3. Number 2.
Number 2, once again, renamed this year, and so many things going on with this bowl. Thank God they didn't send Florida State there after missing out on the playoff. But it is the Pop-Tarts Bowl, a.k.a.
No one, yeah.
Your company is about to go bankrupt bowl. All you really need to know about this bowl game in terms of its history is it started life as the Blockbuster Bowl.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Oh,
It started
wow.
life
Wasn't that
as
down
the, yes, and then they moved it to Orlando.
Oh, okay. So, oh, wow. They actually moved location.
Yes.
Fine.
So, yes, it started life at the Blockbuster Bowl. We all know
You're
what
right.
happened to Blockbuster Video. Then it became the CarQuest Bowl. CarQuest, about 2 years after they started sponsoring the game, was sold to Advanced Auto Parts in a corporate takeover at about 12 cents on the dollar a share. Then it became the Micron PC Bowl. Then it became the MicronPC.com Bowl. Micron PC, also very, very bankrupt.
Yeah, man.
Then it became the Mazda Bowl. Just ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a Mazda on the road? Then the Champs Sports Bowl, another company. Remember when there used to be more Champs Sports than there were goddamn Starbucks?
Yes.
Because every 13-year-old in the world, when was the last time you heard somebody say, oh, yeah, I was at Champs earlier today?
Non-existent. Yeah.
Then the Russell Athletic Bowl. Russell Athletic, the sportswear you never wear again after your high school stops forcing you to wear it. You wear Russell Athletic gear all the way through the 12th grade because it's the crap your high school uniforms are made by. And then you never wear a Russell Athletic piece of clothes ever again in your life. Then the Camping World Bowl.
Yeah.
Then the Cheez-Its Bowl. Now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And this is what I learned because the Big 12 was very creative, as you see here from the slide, and actually affiliated every Big 12 school with a flavor of Pop-Tarts. Here's the thing. I didn't know Pop-Tarts had so many goddamn disgusting flavors. Like, who the hell is eating half of this shit? Look, and I like Pop-Tarts, but Pop-Tarts are very simple. You need the strawberry frosted ones, and you need the cinnamon ones, and you don't need any more of these goddamn. Who the hell wakes up in the morning and was like, you know what I want? A caramel s'mores Pop-Tart. Jesus fucking Christ.
Good way to start your dieting day. Yes.
Yeah, I want a grape jelly and chocolate Pop-Tart. Who the fuck eats like this? No wonder our kids can't pay any attention and think European DJs are music. We're feeding them this for breakfast. If you were starting a goddamn company with the purpose of destroying America, feeding them Pop-Tarts for breakfast would be an excellent way to do it.
Give you a huge leg up right away, no doubt. Pop-Tarts. Yeah, I mean, I remember when McDonald's came out with that hot apple pie. Pop-Tarts, at least, you avoid the syndrome of just absolutely scalding your tongue with the first bite. I'm surprised.
Look, I like Pop-Tarts. Again, the occasional strawberry Pop-Tart, delicious. Once every, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, a cinnamon Pop-Tart, fine. Everybody likes it. It's just like, being
I'm thinking every other leap year.
Brutal.
Yeah, you might engage in one.
Again, do we need, it's like Gatorade. Do we need 300 flavors of Gatorade? No. Do we need this many goddamn pop? Do we need, I don't even know whatever this green shit in the corners
Yeah,
are.
what is that thing on the bottom right?
Green frosting in the fucking morning.
What is that, a guacamole Pop-Tart?
It looks
It's the
like
Mexican
it's for
version?
St. Patrick's Day and a leprechaun took a dump on it.
All right, that's number 2. Number 1, what tops the
Well,
list?
yes, the whole history of anybody who sponsors the Pop-Tart. It's a bad thing whether you're a bowl sponsorship, and Blockbuster's the most successful company.
Yes.
In the
Yeah,
history
that's
of
bad.
your
Yeah.
sponsors.
I just found a little video underneath my bed the other day as we were moving some stuff around. So it was like 11 years overdue, maybe more, like 20 years overdue.
And that takes us to our number 1 stupidest bowl game sponsorship, and that's
Pornhub.
I don't really have a problem.
The Duke's Mayo.
I don't really have a problem with Duke's mayonnaise. I like Duke's mayonnaise. I don't have a problem with the bowl game.
It's a good mayonnaise.
Is a good sponsor for like a mid-tier bowl involving the ACC. But this thing where they dump mayo on your head.
Why? Why do they have to do this?
You're the winning coach. Is the most. It looks like goddamn college football bukkake.
Yeah.
It is the most disgusting thing I have ever seen in the history. Like, who the hell would if you're Shane Bieber, you make like $2 million a year. You're actually going to let them do this to you? I don't know. What was Ruffin McNeil the first year who's been like the temp coach who gets fired like 6 times in his career.
Yeah.
I get it. Like the $50K from Duke's Mayo, that's not bad. It goes to your kid's college fund or whatever. If you're Shane Beamer, you're a young coach, you're a young SEC coach, you're making millions of dollars a year. Why the hell would you let them do this to you? Like I said, it actually looks like something that's going to end up on goddamn Pornhub.
It's worse than having to dive into the vat of squid ink on Fear Factor, which was always the place and the point in time where I had to turn away and watch something else.
Again, I don't know what I don't really like the whole let's douse the coach, the Gatorade, the ice, whatever. But
it's
mayonnaise,
cliche,
like
as they
a
say.
gigantic thing of mayonnaise, that's just disgusting.
It's a lot.
And let's be honest,
Thank God it wasn't a fertilizer. That was
the average Southerner doesn't need
Or mayonnaise.
really the average American, if we're going to be honest,
that much mayonnaise
doesn't
too.
need to be encouraged to slather themselves up in mayonnaise. They've already slathered all their internal organs in mayonnaise.
Where'd they get that size? A container at Costco. Even Costco would be ashamed to sell something like that. How much mayonnaise could you possibly eat? I mean, that thing, unless you've blown it up, I mean, it's gigantic.
Again, this is very clearly for this generation.
It's a lifetime supply.
This is very clearly for this generation that was raised on pornography and has seen images like this and slightly more disgusting fashion and gets excited by this kind of
TikTok written all over it, no doubt.
Let's go viral by dumping a gigantic tub of mayonnaise on the head of a coat. Yeah, it's disgusting. I don't understand it. And it's the worst bowl sponsorship in a long history of horrible bowl sponsorship, as we have broken down here on the program this morning.
Great big board as always.
By the way, can I just say, Lubie, we're glad you didn't commit suicide after last weekend. I was a little worried about you.
I'm just not happy.
He's fine.
Stepping off a bridge.
He loves it. It's given him a cause. He was a rebel without a cause before. Now he has a cause celeb, and everybody's on his side.
He really doesn't. We've talked about this. Like, again, if you're a Florida State fan, hey, I actually do feel sympathy, but karma's a bitch. Again, 2000, you stole our spot since I'm a Hurricanes fan. And the difference between us in 2000 and you in 2023, we actually would have won. We would have beaten Oklahoma. In fact, we would have kicked Oklahoma's ass in that game, whereas, Mark Rick left and Florida State totally shit all over themselves. And those who I've reminded also 1993, it's not Notre Dame, it's West Virginia. You stole West Virginia's spot in 1993 in pretty much exactly the same fashion that you got screwed this year.
It's just ugliness, though. I mean, the whole criteria thing is what was troubling.
I'm not pro Florida State getting screwed.
And then it was Nick at the bottom of it all.
Because it's Saban.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
It was strictly Nick.
The Saban ESPN propaganda.
Yes.
I knew.
They brought up to me 2 weeks before, and I was like, "There's no way."
No, you could see this happening, and then you knew that to facilitate that happening or make it happen.
Oh, I know.
They had to put Texas in there if they wanted.
That Saturday when ESPN was doing game day for 6 hours from the SEC.
Everybody knew it. Yeah.
And every guest was some SEC guy talking about how Alabama belonged in the playoffs.
Well, when Sankey replaced McAfee on the set too, that was a big giveaway. Yeah.
No, they actually did have Sankey on for a half an hour consecutively. And he did do you remember? Oh God, it was the Gators got in over somebody else, and Gary Danielson had spent 4 hours on the entire SEC title game, breaking out pie charts about how Florida deserved the spot. It was like that, except it was Sankey for half an hour. Let's never mind that the SEC went 7-9 against Power 5 conferences this year.
Yeah,
the SEC is not the SEC in 2023, and I can't believe it. I'm going to be rooting for goddamn Michigan and Harbaugh, and that's hard for me to do.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Imagine it? Yeah, want them to crush Alabama, like a grape. All right, Professor, we have to run. Are you going to be with us on the Tony Bruno Sports Network later on today? We're hoping so.
Okay.
This is perfect material for what we're trying to present there, which is obviously. Not necessarily the conventional view of the ball game. So that was great stuff. Professor, thanks so much. And we'll talk to you again in just a couple hours.
You guys have a great one.
All right, the professor, ladies and gentlemen. We have to run. We'll have the Tony Bruno Sports Network show coming your way at 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock, rather. 1 o'clock, we'll have Mike Mayo's Lunchbox out from Gulfstream Park. Championship meet is on, so looking forward to being out there. And we have our No Filter morning briefing coming up in just a few minutes here, so you can catch that at nofilter.net and Caffeine TV. And just Google that, the morning briefing, and you'll catch Lubie and me as we pontificate on the wide world of sports, which now includes sports gaming and gambling right here in South Florida. So we'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
And our apologies, Mark Lawrence couldn't be with us today here. So hopefully he'll be back with us next week, and we'll have more of his selections from playbooksports.com. It's 9:05.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.